right, welcome to my presentation here. We're talking about my thoughts after 1 year of CrossFit. If you haven't visited my channel before, my name is Ethan Etchart. I'm a personal trainer that helps people with addictive behaviors such as alcoholism, nicotine addiction, and porn addiction too. Okay, so let's get into this video. I don't have my phone right now, so this video quality is coming straight out of my computer. Microphone's not going to sound the best, but we're going to make it happen. We got to make the show, keep the show on the road. Okay? All right. So my thoughts prior to starting CrossFit was that it seemed to something to me that was unreasonably exhausting. It lacked credit due to the amount of injuries that you can see on the internet, especially like on YouTube and things like that. And it also, I thought that it created like a less aesthetically beautiful physique than things like bodybuilding or other athletic sports did. So that's what I could tell before, is that I definitely misjudged CrossFit. And I tried it out a few times before really diving into it. And I was actually impressed with how hard it was. But that's just kind of what I saw, was just something that was just hard. And I didn't realize like the value in doing something so difficult like that. But wow, I have a lot to share today about it because it's insane what you can gain out of doing CrossFit. And so first, like, I'm going to dive deeper into this, but I just want to like let you guys know like what is the secret that CrossFit has. So let me dive into that. It's the next slide. The secret of CrossFit is that you have this physical training, right? And it parallels the challenge of how hard life itself is going to be for you. And so for that reason, I decided to continue training with CrossFit for the foreseeable future. So you're going to see deeper here, like why, but like that's kind of secret, is just like, it makes life, it shows you how life works. Basically, it's just like things are so hard, you're exhausted, you're dying, you're like in hell, and you're gonna have moments like that during your life, and you got to know how to persevere in those moments. And that's what something like CrossFit can teach you, is just like, wow, you got to just keep going, and it's gonna be painful for a minute, but just keep going. Watch out, because on the other side, you're gonna be so proud of like what you've accomplished at that point. Okay, so let's talk about the CrossFit methodology. How does it work? So you basically have four main components, I would say. You have your typical weightlifting, which would be things like dumbbells. And then it also gets deeper into Olympic weightlifting, like the snatch and the clean and jerk, which are extremely complicated. Hold on here. All right, so like I said, weightlifting, sorry. Olympic weightlifting is crazy. You got to do snatch and clean and jerk, and those things are super difficult. But that's just kind of one of the main things there. And then you have the gymnastics movements, which are basically all of your body weight movements, like things like muscle ups, pull ups, dips, walking on your hands, handstand push-ups. Those things are extremely difficult. You could kind of combine calisthenics within that, but in CrossFit, they usually refer to it as gymnastics. Okay, and then you have your monostructural movements, and this is basically your cardio movements, is kind of how I think about them. You have like the rowing machine, you have the skiing machine, you have swimming, echo bike, ski erg. Swimming isn't really seen that much, but they're introducing it a lot more in different competitions across the world. And I love actually the swimming part, but then running, of course. So you'll be running like 400 meters, or you'll have to like run like a mile. So that's the cardio piece that's always kind of involved. And then the last component I like to think of is just performance in general. Like, you got to be fast. You have to have good technique. You got to be strong. And then you have to have extreme durability because you're going to have an array of different events thrown at you. So you have to just be able to persevere through that. And then also, like, the competitive spirit is a huge part of it as well. You're trying to do better than you did last week and how you did the day before. And you're trying to do better than your competitors. So it's a very strong competitive environment. So performance, right? Now I want to talk about the risk of injury. And so this is something that I was actually one of those big naysayers, big haters on beforehand, especially as kind of like a personal trainer even, that I felt like CrossFit just didn't really have a place for a lot of people because a lot of people get injured. And now I actually think way differently of that. A lot of times, you know, like look at these pictures here. You see these guys, this girl fails on the snatch, like at a competition. This guy is probably about to hurt himself doing like a push jerk on the right-hand side. You know, like things like this can happen, but a lot of times these fail videos happen from people that are trying to push their bodies to a place they're not totally comfortable with. and perhaps their coach is not around and their coach is not giving them sound advice. So you got to remember, a lot of these gyms actually have very impressive coaches that have long experience and they are extremely safe people. And so these fail videos you typically see are just people trying to push their boundaries without the proper coach around and the right like safety mechanisms basically in place. So what I found is, in my case, I actually have had some injuries during CrossFit that came from me just pushing myself when I wasn't ready for it. For instance, I was doing a bunch of handstand push-ups one day because I was trying to get better at them, and I ended up tweaking my shoulder, but it's because I have bad movement pattern, and so I had shoulder bursitis for like a month. But that's just because I did like 100 plus like handstand push-ups in one day, and then another time I got hurt as well. I was doing the gymnastics rings, the pull-ups or the muscle ups. I was doing some muscle ups and I was still pretty new with the movement at this point. But I did like 2 or 3 in a row, and then I went up for another one because you swing and on the muscle up ring muscle up, and then I had my hands too far away, and so then I fell down and I landed on my wrist. And I didn't think it would hurt that bad. Actually, I thought I was like fine. Like adrenaline kind of kicked in right away. I actually didn't even think I like really hurt it at all. And then I realized that I sprained it like afterwards because it was just like messed up for like 6 to 8 weeks, like almost 2 months or so, probably a little longer. And that's how I knew it was sprained. But really, that was just me being kind of dumb, like not doing the technique correctly. I wasn't really ready for it. I was trying to push myself. But that's just kind of that's just the injuries that you'll see. And a lot of times, injuries happen in a lot of sports, and this is a sport at the end of the day. So people get hurt playing basketball, people get hurt playing soccer, and so when people are trying to push themselves to the next level, like things happen. So that's just the way I look at it. If you're like a typical person going into the gym to do CrossFit, you're not going to get hurt. You're going to be safe. The coach is going to make sure you're okay, and that's what you have to remember. The people that are usually getting hurt are the ones that are trying to like push themselves to like the next level. And so that's my thought. That's my take on the risk of injury within CrossFit. So the big thing I want to talk about now is learning curve in CrossFit. So it has a very strong learning curve, I will say. And I came into the sport as a super, I was an athlete at this point already. I've been playing basketball a lot, and I was lifting quite a bit and doing a bunch of pull-ups, but I couldn't do things like snatch and clean and jerk. Like Olympic lifting was completely new and foreign to me. And then the gymnastics movements like muscle ups and handstand push-ups I'd never even tried in my life. So there was certainly a huge learning curve even for me to approach as like a pretty decent athlete. And so you can see this picture here. This is like this is like a year and a half ago. I was looking pretty skinny and trying out the snatch. It's like a video, and my snatch technique was absolutely terrible, but it's still not that great, but it's a million times better than it was when I was taking these videos back then. But I would say, like, if you're a very, very good athlete, like a 1% athlete, you can figure out how to do snatch, clean and jerk, muscle ups probably within like a month or two, maybe faster for some people. But that's like the 1% athletes that are like already extremely fit and going to the gym like 5 days a week and have like extensive athletic history. For those that are new to CrossFit, things like these harder skills, like for instance, double unders with the jump rope, and muscle ups with the bar and with the Olympic rings, and then the snatch, like those things, they take time, and they might take you upwards from 6 months to a year to finally do competently. And for a lot of people, it might take even further than that, because for some movements, for instance, like walking on your hands or the ring muscle up, like you're going to have like a lot of your body has to be kind of built for those type of movements. So it's going to take some time to get your body in the right place. So, but it could happen. I would say for me, maybe like 8 to 10 months, I was finally able to do everything pretty comfortably. And that's someone that was already a decent athlete. So it's a pretty long learning curve, but the process is very challenging and extremely rewarding. And actually what you're going to see is that like, it doesn't matter if you can't do the highest standard on all of the exercises, because there's always ways you can scale it down. And that's the beauty in CrossFit. It's like infinitely scalable. It can always be harder and it can always be easier. And so if you're new, like you can still find a way to challenge yourself extremely hard during workouts because you can scale the workouts to like your skill level. But there's a learning curve nonetheless, and you're going to need 4 components to do that. And you got to have patience because these things take time. You have to be disciplined. You're just going to have to put the time in, the reps. And then obsession is the third thing. Obsession is like you got to want to learn about how to get better at these skills because you have to study, you have to watch people, you have to like really have an interest in the sport. And the fourth thing is perseverance because you're going to have those days where you just feel like absolute shit. And then you have days where you feel pretty good, but most of the time you're going to be like, wow, like, I had a pretty good workout, but like I still didn't go hard enough, or I still can't do the move correctly. Like I just want to be better right now. And so the perseverance is just like just going from one day to the next, barring your performance, whether it sucked or it was great, because you're going to have bad performances. That's just how it goes. And you're going to feel bad sometimes, especially if you're people that are drinking alcohol still like religiously, like you're going to have terrible workouts. And if you're not getting proper sleep, like this is why you got to take care of your body, number one, and just like avoid things like alcohol, like porn and eating bad food and barely sleeping, because it's not going to help you at all in the long run. And so CrossFit actually is one of the big reasons why I quit drinking, because I was like still every now and then going out and partying on weekends. But it's just like when I was trying to get serious with like a sport like CrossFit, it's like you can't be destroying your potential every single weekend by getting blacked out. And so it can be a very positive thing in that regard, CrossFit, because it's going to help you just stay like healthy in general, like because you're trying to get better every single week. Which leads me into like my greatest point, the greatest lessons that you need to understand about CrossFit, and why I think everybody should be looking at it and trying to do workouts with this methodology, is that it helps you recognize the power that you have. Okay. Failure is the greatest teacher. So you're going to fail and then you're going to get better. And that's just like what it teaches you every day. And because of this, because you're becoming more adaptable physically and you're challenging yourself mentally with like painful workouts that are tough, life just becomes easier for you because you can handle so much more. A lot of times people in this world are just, they have the capabilities to achieve anything they want. It's just they let it be too hard on themselves because they haven't challenged themselves mentally and physically. And CrossFit teaches you like, hey, just keep going. Like you're going to make it, you're going to learn and you're unstoppable. And that's the biggest thing I've seen with the people that go to CrossFit. Like I'm obviously a trainer and stuff like that. So for me, it's like, this is just my outlet. It's a way I can keep getting better as an athlete and as a trainer, because I have people that I'm training as well. And so, but for people that are just like doing it for their outside of work, right? Like people that are doing it for work, it helps them be way better at their work. Like people I've seen in there, they're like real estate agents, they're like doctors, they're like engineers, they're, you name it. Like they're working on stuff. They're lawyers, because they know like if they challenge themselves with something like CrossFit, like work's not going to be that hard. They just have to put half the effort they put into CrossFit into their job, and like life will be a lot easier. Okay. And the final component is social responsibility. And the reason why I say this is because like there's a very strong community in CrossFit. People are always like cheering each other on. People are always helping each other get better. They're helping work on technique. They're spotting each other. And then like the whole coaching dynamic in general is very powerful, because these coaches are like at a very high level, because people have to be coached in groups and they have to be challenged and pushed and held accountable to be safe. And so I love that part about CrossFit. It's a very community-based program, and that's what kind of keeps me going as well. It's a very healthy social environment. And so my thoughts moving forward is that like I'm going to keep doing this stuff no matter what, because disease prevention, first of all, like you're less likely to have depression, cardiovascular diseases, obesity, anxiety, you're gonna have a healthy social life, you have a longer lifespan. Like that is just automatic with CrossFit. Actually, like that's just what your life is just going to be a million times better in regards to your health. Okay. And then reaching the next level, it's just like professional growth, personal development, networking, and the ability to become unstoppable. That's what I've found with it. And this is why I think everybody should look into CrossFit. And so that's my thoughts moving forward. Like I thought when I first started, I'd quit like after maybe like a year or two, but now I know like, dude, this is what you got to do. So I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, most likely. Okay. And so thanks for checking out this video. Please like and subscribe. I have a Facebook group and Instagram group called Electrify Your Life, where we talk about reaching our goals through fitness and health. So please check that out. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it. And stay tuned for more content. I'm going to be sharing ideas within health, wellness, fitness, and well-being as well. So I'm all into this scene. I love it. So thanks for checking out this video. I'll see you next time.